Dog Aggression. The Ultimate Guide to Understanding Dog Behavior AMP. Dog Body Language. Dog Aggression. The Ultimate Guide to Understanding Dog Behavior AMP. Dog Body Language. Tim Jacobs. Introduction. Before we get started, I wanted to mention an awesome brain training video for dogs that has proven to help with dog aggression and dog anxiety. Click here to see it. Let's get started. We all love dogs. If you didn't love dogs, then you wouldn't have picked up this book. Even though dogs are excellent companions, they can be nasty and aggressive little beasts. That is where many people get stuck and avoid dogs because they are afraid. There are times when your dog does something that you don't understand. Your dog may be upsetting at times, but understanding them and their body language will help you communicate with them better. It is vital to understand what your dog is attempting to communicate with you and how positive training techniques can encourage positive behaviors. This book goes into detail about ways that actually work and proven strategies to tame your dog. This book will allow you to learn how to socialize your dog so that he or she can interact amicably with your friends and family. You'll be able to understand your dog's behavior and body language so you can better understand what your dog is really trying to say. Chapter 1. Getting to know your dog better. Dogs are said to be a man's best friend. They are there to protect you from harm, comfort you when you are sad, welcome you when you get home from work, and to play with you when you have nothing else to do. However, most humans still don't know how to communicate efficiently with their dogs. Some owners would yell at their pets when they are annoyed by their dog's undesirable behaviors. Some would hit their dogs to stop barking. And some would just ignore their dogs when they seem to be trying to say something. Your pets can feel what you feel. They know when you are happy. They know when you are going through a difficult time. They know when you want to be left alone. Have you ever wondered why your mood brightens up whenever you see your dogs? It is because you know that someone understands you. Unfortunately, some humans still believe that they are superior to their dogs and therefore do not follow ethical ownership principles. Though you may be blessed with mental, physical, emotional, and social skills that these dogs don't have, treating them badly is unreasonable and unjust. You are not their boss. Rather, you are their steward. It is your duty and responsibility to take care of them and protect them from harm. The friendship between man and dog is not a one-way street. The relationship is mutual and benefits both parties equally. It is a give and take relationship. If your dogs protect you, then it is a must that you protect them from danger. This is where most pet owners fail. They fail to recognize the needs of these dogs to be nurtured, cherished, and treated as their equal. Dogs have their own unique way of communicating within their own species and with humans. It is essential that you get to learn how they express themselves. Not being able to talk does not mean that they don't have internal emotions. For example, simple gestures such as raising their tails stiffly, running around as if in apprehension, or by barking aggressively at someone are all forms of communication. You might wonder why there is a need to understand dogs, and other animals for that matter. Dogs are social beings and have feelings just like you. They need to interact with the other dogs and with other people as well. They get hurt, they get lonely, and they get sick. Understanding their behavior will give you a clue on what they want to do, what they feel, and what they think. Just like you, dogs communicate for survival, resolution of internal and external conflicts, and to establish relationship with those around them. By familiarizing yourself with their ways of communication, you are giving them back the security and the sense of belongingness that they provided you. With learning how to effectively communicate with them and correct the problem areas reduces the incidences of dog aggression and injuries. Understanding your dog's behavior. Dogs communicate in a language that seems to be impossible for humans to understand. They express themselves through gestures that you don't bother to pay attention to, and through the sounds they emit, such as barks and wails. Humans may not be equipped with the capacity to speak their language, although they are blessed with the capacity to understand them. Of course, learning what every gesture means does not happen all in one day. It takes practice, time, and adequate interaction with them. Just like how you learn about your native language, it would take you some time to master it. Dogs express themselves primarily through body language. You may not notice it, but the simple wagging of their tails and the way by which they bark may mean something to you. The good news here is that dogs are very transparent with their feelings. They bark at you when they are angry, they cry when they are sad, they play with you when they are happy, and they hide in the corner when they are afraid of something. These actions of your pets may easily be read. However, not all of their actions can be easily understood, which makes violence against these animals a societal concern. Though a dog's body language can be intricate and sometimes difficult to discern, humans have the capacity to interpret them. Mastering the art of understanding these signals and gestures is opening the doorway towards animal compassion. Once you have learned to discern them, you get to comprehend what they feel, and later on you will be able to fathom their next steps. When you see a dog's ears stiffen, you know that it most likely sensed the presence of impending danger. Learning their body language is not easy, and it would help that you break it up into parts. A dog's body language, as mentioned earlier, is complex. The movement of each body part, their facial expressions, the look in their eyes, their posture, and overall character all make up their body language system. Taking each component into account and learning them one by one will not only make the task easier, but it will also give you more time and opportunities to get to know them better. Understanding the context at which they are behaving will also be a helpful clue into finding out what they really feel. It is not enough that you observe his tail or his eyes or his ears, but rather you should pay attention to his body language holistically. A wagging tail may mean a lot of things, but a wagging tail with imploring eyes may only mean a thing or two. 1. The face. By simply looking at a dog's face, you can already guess what is going on with him. The face contains almost all the parts that a dog uses for self-expression, such as the eyes, the ears, and the mouth. A change in the characteristics of these body parts, whether it be in the shape, size, or position, can already imply something. To better understand how a dog expresses itself through his face, it would be better to break this component down further to each body part. A. The ears. Dogs of different species possess a unique set of ears, differing in the shape, size, and the position. Some dogs have big ears, while some have small. Some dog ears are drooped, some are rigid, while others are long, just like your hounds. The shape, orientation, and size of their ears may have an impact on how they communicate. A dog's ear is normally oriented upward, not drooped, not pushed forward, and not stiff. A relaxed ear most probably implies comfort and safety. Seeing this type of ear orientation signifies that you don't have to worry and can approach him without being worried about them biting you. On the other hand, ears that are especially stiff, pointing upwards with the ear auricle directed towards the front, signify that your dog has sensed something undesirable. One of the most common causes of which is sense of danger. Stiff ears signify alertness, which can turn to aggression when the source of danger is not eliminated. The opposite is true if your dog's ears are flattened out, drooped, or loosely hanging on the side of its face. If a raised ear signifies alertness, this gesture, on the other hand, means two things. Either it is afraid of something or someone, or that it recognizes that you are its guardian. There is no harm or danger in the vicinity, nor are there negative emotions welling up inside it. A friendly dog has ears pulled backward. B. The eyes. Just like humans, the eyes are the windows to the dog's soul. Their eyes can vary in size and shape depending on their mood. They can also deepen their gaze when they are angry. A dog's eye's normal response to danger and stress is to enlarge. This is because the dog has to widen his field of gaze in case that there are predators or danger in the vicinity. He can also use this for escape so that he can readily see what's in front of him and where he can run to. An aggressive dog usually presents with bigger eyes, while the more relaxed one will usually have a normal-sized eyes. Meanwhile, dogs who are feeling negative emotions such as pain and sadness present with smaller eyes. Dogs who are happy also present with smaller set eyes. By looking at the direction of a dog's gaze and the intensity of its stare, you can already make out some possible clues as to what it is thinking or feeling. While humans prefer eye contact during their social interactions to facilitate better communication, most dogs do not. They either look down or look at other directions when interacting with the other dogs or with you. Most dogs that establish eye contact are those that perceive danger, and making an eye contact is a signal that your dog is asking for help. However, there are times when your dog realizes that eye contact, even in normal circumstances, is acceptable. Your dog may comfortably look at you in the eye and make a big grin. However, when you notice that your dog is staring at you intently with a straight face and a stiff tail, then it might mean that he is seeing you as his enemy. Put your guard up, but don't make a move to alert him. Instead, look away. See the dog's mouth. When a dog widely opens its mouth, you would see his frightening, sharp set of teeth. You might also see some saliva drooling from the corners of its mouth. These things might really be scary, and if you don't know your dog too well, you might misinterpret them as threat. A dog's mouth, tongue, and of course, a set of sharp teeth are not just used for biting and licking. Rather, they are also used for self-expression. They may not be able to verbally express themselves, but they can do so by opening their mouth in a certain way. Just like humans, the dogs use their lips to indicate whether they are happy or sad, most commonly manifested as a grin or frown, respectively. A grin usually signifies a relaxed and comfortable behavior. This indicates that your dog is in the mood for a walk in the park, that he can play hide and seek with you, and that you can pat his back gently. A relaxed dog would usually have his mouth closed with a slight grin. Another indicator that your dog is happy is when he licks you. Licking could be the dog's way of saying, "I miss you, and I'm happy to see you." On the other hand, you would recognize that your dog is in a bad mood and in aggressive behavior when he slightly retracts his lips posteriorly to expose his grinding teeth. Your dog can even match the facial expression with a growling sound. When you see the characteristic lip retraction with accompanying growling sound, you may already consider taking a step backward. Making another move forward in this case won't do you any good. 2. The tails. The movement of the tail and its orientation can mean different things. It is essential that you know that tail movement is not always indicative of a dog's positive mood. In fact, some tail movements, especially the wagging of it, can signify aggression. The challenge here is to differentiate the wag of good mood and the wag of the bad. Some dogs would not even move their tails. Some are hanging loosely behind them, while some are permanently curled around their buttocks. Non-movement of the tail does not mean aggression necessarily. Dogs can still be friendly without wagging their tails, however. This is usually an immediate indication of their happiness. A dog that is wagging its tail gently from left to right and is holding its tail upward is in a relaxed and happy mood. It may wag its tail more rapidly if it sees you for the first time in a long time. A more rapid and forceful wagging of the tail may signify excitement, and so could mean good mood. A more submissive dog would wag its tail similarly with the relaxed one. However, this time, the submissive dog's tail is positioned a little lower than the former. An alert dog or a dog that has been roused by something interesting may have a horizontally oriented tail. This means that the terminal end of its tail is placed in the same level as that of its back. A more upright and stiff tail indicates aggression. 3. The dog's body hair. Just like your goosebumps, dogs also suffer from piloerection. This is a phenomenon that occurs in the skin caused by the contraction of the muscles surrounding the hair follicles, causing the hairs to stand up. These hair follicles, also known as the root of hairs, erect in times of stress, extremes of temperature, more especially with cold weather and times of fear and danger. Piloerection usually occurs when your dog is feeling extremes of emotion such as anger, too much excitement, and nervousness. For a dog's overall behavior. Your dog's behavior can also be assessed through examining the way it moves. A more careful and slower approach or walk could indicate the possible presence of threat. Your dog is trying to catch a prey, or that he is trying to find out what is going on with his surroundings. Dogs that are happy and excited are most commonly seen jumping and running around the place with a grin on its face. When your dog suddenly stops, retreats to a corner where it can hide, or suddenly bows its head down, then this means that your dog has encountered something that is scary. For example, some dogs are afraid of the sound of fireworks. What they usually do is to retreat in one corner of the house, curl up in that place, bow its head down, and close its eyes. Your pet would sometimes look for you, hide behind your back, or lean onto you for support. This provides more comfort and consolation to them than by simply hiding in one area of the house. 5. The dog's mood. You have been reading about the different moods that your dog can possibly have: happy, sad, aggressive, or scared. Learning how to decipher the moods of your dog can help you understand them better and helps prevent future dog aggression and human-dog conflicts. When your dog is happy, his tail and ears are relaxed. When he is aggressive, he looks you intently in the eye, stiffens his tail up, and retracts his lips posteriorly to expose some teeth, drools, and growls. A submissive dog has smaller eyes. A scared dog would wag his tail forcefully from left to right, squint his eyes, move slowly, and bark. Chapter 3: Understanding Aggression. One of the most common reasons why dogs get hurt is their instinctive aggression. When they see something that they do not want or they think is harmful to them, they act violently. If they are harboring hate against a certain dog, they would most likely attack the latter. Since these dogs act primarily on impulse and instincts, they would most likely get themselves hurt in the process. And it's your duty, the pet owner, to find ways and implement measures on how to prevent this violence from happening again. Dog aggression is caused by many factors. It could be caused by pure disgust against you or against other dogs. It could be because of a perceived danger that aggression is the only way to survive, or it could also be because of fear that it does not know anymore how to react appropriately. Dog aggression can be classified according to its cause and nature. As mentioned earlier in the chapter, a dog's aggression can be caused by fear. This is one of their protective mechanisms in cases of perceived danger. Fearful aggression does not always indicate the presence of true danger. It could be a result of its misinterpretation of a given situation. For example, you are running towards your dog without the intention of hurting him. Your dog can respond to this action of yours in either of two ways. First, he can react to it positively by putting a smile onto his face, run towards you and lick you straight on the face. And second, it can react negatively and perceive your running towards him as a threat. It might think that you are going to pounce on him or stab him, which could elicit a negative response. 2. Protective aggression. If the dog was fearfully aggressive because it needed to protect itself from harm and danger, a dog who is protectively aggressive intends to protect its valuable belongings. Dogs, just like the rest of the mammalian family, have the tendency to take care of their offsprings until their offsprings are capable enough to sustain a living. Relating it to the case, a dog that had just given birth to its puppies would want to protect these little creatures while they are growing up. Protective aggression is the reason why some dogs are hostile, even towards their guardian after delivery. A dog can protect his territory and valuable things such as food. 3. Social aggression. This phenomenon usually arises within the family, usually seen as sibling rivalry. You might wonder how sibling rivalry can happen among dogs. Though dogs are not generally capable of harboring envy, sibling rivalry occurs when a dog perceives a change in the family hierarchy. Normally, dogs follow this principle in getting their basic needs, such as food and water. Whoever is standing at the top of the hierarchy gets to choose the food that it wants, and whoever sits at the bottom gets to choose last. An alteration in this hierarchy is equated with threat. A dog who wants to protect its position in the hierarchy would try to show its aggressiveness to assert themselves. Other causes of social aggression include waking the dog up while sleeping, depriving it of food, bathing the dog. Dogs are usually hydrophobic or afraid of water. Threatening your pet with a sharp object, aggressively pulling on his tail. 4. Pain-related aggression. Maybe the most common cause of aggression is pain. When you hit a dog and the stimulus caused it pain, what it usually does is growl, retract its lips, bark at you, grind its teeth, and stiffen its tail up. This is also one of the main impetus for biting. Usually, when dogs are hit, they have this tendency to take revenge, which is accomplished through biting. Knowing these types of elements can give you an idea on how to control your dog's aggression. However, it would also be better to determine what factors cause these aggressive behavior so that you know how to manage them. These factors are said to be both environmental and genetic in origin. Genetic causes are more apparent. In certain breeds of dogs, such as the Rottweiler, these dogs are most commonly seen with bad temper and are more at risk for aggressive tendencies than the rest of the dog population. Environmental factors, on the other hand, can vary. It depends on the place where the dog most usually resides and the people surrounding him. What are the common factors that lead to a dog's aggressive or violent behavior? A. The immediate environment. The place where the dog is living greatly impacts how it would react to certain circumstances. For example, The dog lives in a peaceful place where all dogs live harmoniously with one another. This dog has greater tolerance against aggression versus those that live in a place where most dogs fight with one another. B. The pet family. The attitudes of people interacting with your pet also has a great bearing on how it's going to behave in a given setting. In this circumstance, a dog is likened to a kid who gets to internalize the attitudes of people surrounding him. A dog who always experiences violence and who lives in a noisy environment would most likely turn out to be aggressive. C. Size. This is a genetic factor. A large dog has greater aggressive tendency than the small ones. This is attributed to a phenomenon that works like superiority complex. The larger dogs have the capacity to overpower the small ones, hence are more likely to be violent. D. Presence of triggers in the environment. Your dogs do not just get wild when they want to. Most aggressive behaviors are triggered by certain stimuli that are present in the environment. There are certain circumstances that occur, sometimes without you noticing it, that prompt such behaviors. Stimuli can range from a simple aversion to being watched while eating to a serious blow to the head. Some dogs get easily irritated by noise or are overly protective of their territory. These dogs are more at risk of becoming violent than most of the other dogs in the community. 5. Exposure to triggers and targets. Humans, when allergic to a certain substance, either food or medications, undergo a therapy called systematic desensitization. This is a treatment modality that allows the patient to be exposed to the said substance in a dose that is enough to elicit recognition by the immune system, but not enough to cause a hypersensitivity reaction. In aggressive dogs, the amount of their exposure to stimuli and targets may impact the way they behave. It was already mentioned that some dogs get irritated easily by certain stimuli. If you keep exposing the dog to the same stimulus, there will come a time when the dog no longer cares whether the stimulus is present or not. The dog will eventually get desensitized to the irritating trigger. In layman's term, the dog will get used to it. Chapter 4. How to train your dog. Teaching your dog how to act appropriately is a helpful way of eliminating the risk of the development of aggression. Just like humans who need to be trained as they grow up, dogs need training as well. This helps them determine which is right from wrong and to prevent undue strain on your part as the pet parent. Aggressive dogs must be trained on how to control their negative behavior and to reinforce the good ones. It is not only you, the pet owner, who get to benefit from dog trainings. Rather, possible victims, namely other dogs in the neighborhood or worse, your neighbors themselves, are saved from your pet's aggressive behavior. It is not unknown to you that dog training requires time, consistency, effort, and guidance from experts. However, there are certain things that you still need to know regarding dog training. It would be most helpful for you to identify the advantages of training an aggressive dog, tips to make training easier for you and your pet, ways on how you can train it, and things to avoid during the activity. Dogs are naturally born to act on their instincts. Unlike humans who are blessed with higher cortical brain functions, dogs act out in pure reflex. Dogs respond equally to the presence of a stimulus. If the stimulus is positive, then the dog's response would also be positive. But if the stimulus poses threat to a dog's well-being, then the dog would react to protect himself from impending danger. Stimulus. Training helps in conditioning and in improvement of one's response to a certain stimulus. Things you can do to make your training experience easier. 1. Be compassionate. No matter how much you want to be rigid in training your dog, compassion must still be evident in how you handle your dog. Remember that your pet needs tender, loving care, and it would not obey everything you say if it feels threatened. Be sure to give your dog adequate rest periods in between your training. Give your dog a pat on the back after a few hours of training, and don't forget to talk to him. Never shout at your dog because it will only give your dog a hard time while on training. Always talk to your dog in a soft and gentle manner. 2. Praise and reward your dog. Just like how you reinforce good behavior in children, praising your dogs for what they did right boosts their confidence. Tell them that they are such good pets while giving them a gentle caress. Compliment them when they do well in your training, but don't yell at them when they commit a mistake. You can also give your dog a reward, like a no training day or a food that it really likes. This will give your dog a hint that he is doing the right thing. Give him the specifics. Your dogs are not as genius as you are, so don't expect them to follow your commands the way you want them to. Instead of just telling him to go get his bone at the back of the house, why not accompany him first to the place where it is located, and then later on ask it to do it by itself? Saying no to your dog does not also give them enough details on what they are supposed to do. Saying no to what they did can even make them feel bad. This gives them the feeling of rejection, which when chronically done can reduce their confidence in themselves. Eventually, your dog might just suddenly stop doing what you tell him to and never obey you again. Instead of telling him no, it would be better if you tell him what you really want him to do. If he runs fast and you tell him no, he might do something else, such as run more slowly, run to the other side, or to stop running. Give him the specific instruction to prevent confusion. Most dogs get confused about what they should and should not do because their pet parents have not been consistent during their trainings. When you tell your dog that it is wrong to jump off the fence, then it must be discouraged at all times. Your dog should learn that a rule should always remain as a rule. There should be no excuses. The other members of the family should also be aware of your training principles. Your family members cannot say yes to an act that you discourage your dog to do. 5. Give your dog some freedom. Keeping your dog locked up inside the house is not a perfect way of letting your dog learn. In contrast to what you are thinking, locking him up promotes negativity. Your dog will most likely be aggressive this way. Give your dog some freedom every once in a while to give him a chance to socialize with other dogs. On the other hand, giving your dog too much freedom or too early in the training period can promote aggression. Now that you know the basics in dog training, you are now ready to learn the things that you should not do. 1. Do not be aggressive. You are teaching your dog how to be calm, and being aggressive won't help him much. Teach your dog through modeling. When your dog sees you getting angry, he would think that it is all right for him to be angry too. In addition, this is a violation of the be consistent rule. If you are telling him not to be aggressive, then you yourself should avoid being one. 2. Do not punish your dog. You might wonder how in the world you can discipline your dog if you are not going to punish him for a mistake he committed. In the training tips, you have learned that praising and giving rewards to your dog would mean so much to it. Likely, taking away its chances of getting that reward back can serve as his punishment. This is what you call positive and negative reinforcements. Positive reinforcement is achieved by giving your dog a reward for a good deed, while negative reinforcement is taking away a privilege or a reward for a bad deed. 3. Do not promote and encourage violence. Never ask your dog to hurt another dog or to hurt someone. Giving your dog the opportunity to become violent will foster aggression because it might make a habit out of it. Asking your dog to run after people who pass by your front lawn can promote the development of territorial aggression and can be a source of conflict later on. If you love watching movies with your dog, then it would be good if you would carefully choose the type of film you are going to watch. Dogs are like kids. They simply imitate what they see without regard to the moral implications of such acts. Do not give up on your dog. Dogs might be difficult to handle at times, but it is not enough reason to just let your dog do whatever it is that it wishes to do. Your dogs need guidance as they grow up and as they go out into the bigger environment. You have to remember that training takes time, and there are times when your strategies would not work. When this happens, don't blame your dog. It is not its fault if the strategies are not working. Change the training techniques instead. Conclusion: dogs generally act on instincts. Their response to a certain stimulus depends on how they perceive it, whether it is safe or not, whether it is a threat or not. Most aggressive behaviors result from the perception of danger, from the need to protect one's territory and values, and from the need to stay in a certain position in the family hierarchy. Factors that can contribute to the aggression include both genetic and environmental causes. One way to control this aggression is to train your dogs. In training your dogs, there are certain things that you should and should not do. Being compassionate, consistent, and appreciative of your dogs are most helpful. On the other hand, being aggressive, punishing them, and encouraging a violent behavior reinforce aggression. Last chance. Click here to receive awesome books absolutely free. You'll also be eligible for incredible giveaways. 10 important truths every dog owner must learn for dog obedience. Introduction. Dog Training. Tim Jacobs' Table of Contents. Chapter 1. Understanding a dog's behavior. Chapter 2. Getting your dog used to a new environment. Chapter 3. Purchasing supplies. Chapter 4. House Training. Keeping your dog safe and trouble-free. Chapter 6. Fun and games with the dog. First of all, I want to thank you and congratulate you for downloading the book, Dog Training for Kids. Made Easy. This book contains proven steps and strategies on how to make your pet Fido behave, obedient, and happy at the same time. If your kids or even you have some trouble managing your pets, don't fret because this training manual will surely help you out. Each chapter is filled with all the information that you need in dog care and training. Topics such as the various pet supplies you should give them, understanding their behaviors, training them to be accustomed to a new environment, and creating fun and exciting games for your dog and your family. This training manual is very easy to understand. I made sure that the explanations here are simple but very useful so that you will have a better time reading it. Although this reading material is designed for kids age 8 to 12, there are some concepts they may not easily understand and several activities that require parental supervision. I sincerely wish that you guide your little ones across the various pages of this book so that they will learn from it and enjoy what they are reading. Before you move to the first chapter, my first piece of advice is to be calm and patient when handling your dogs. Their actions can sometimes be very rash and annoying, but it takes a good owner to make them behave. Thanks again for downloading this book. I hope you enjoy and learn something from it. Understanding a dog's behavior, reading a dog's attitude can be a very tricky business. Since they cannot speak, owners have to interpret what they are saying through their actions and their barking. If one is not observant, you might misinterpret their behavior and attempt to correct the behavior, leaving the underlying cause that will render the correction ineffective and potentially confuse your dog. Always remember that there's a reason behind those actions that you deem annoying. Often when a dog misbehaves, it is because it either has not correctly been shown what is desired or they are attempting to seek your attention. Both of these causes are easily remedied. More when they are younger than when they are adults, however. Nothing is impossible, and with patience even old dogs can learn new tricks. Training a dog does not happen overnight, and if you go into a training session with a limited amount of time, often the dog will not reach the desired goal by the end of the time. Make sure to set a time aside for training where you will not have to rush, and you will be surprised at how this relaxed attitude will allow the dog to relax. Enjoy their session and often learn the required material significantly faster than you had anticipated. Here are the explanations of the most common dog behaviors. Aggression. Aggression in dogs is often misunderstood. It is uncommon for a dog to be naturally aggressive, and any aggressive behavior should be quickly remedied. It is important to determine what the cause of the aggressive behavior is, just as it is important to determine what kind of aggression is being displayed. Fear. Often aggressive behavior is based on fear. Fear aggression is often made worse by a dog's owner, even though they are unaware of this. Often if a dog reacts aggressively towards another dog or a stranger, their owner is more likely to tighten the leash and tense up when the dog is in the same situation in the future. Dogs can feel their owner getting nervous, so they think they are right to be nervous and to fear the situation, and for this reason, react again. This behavior can be handled by remaining calm and showing the dog there is nothing to fear. By remaining calm and talking to the dog in a calming manner, your dog is less likely to get that boost of fear. By talking to the stranger and slowly introducing them, or the dog in question, you can clearly show the dog there is nothing to fear, for this reason eliminating the behavior. Often this will need to be regularly repeated until the behavior stops, and the longer this behavior has been permitted to continue, the longer it will be to fix. Food. Often food aggression can stem from a dog's desire to protect what they think is theirs. Rescue dogs can be particularly protective of their food as they have gone without and have not yet realized that they are to be regularly fed. Often people will try to avoid facing this issue by feeding their dog in a different room and not allowing anyone near the dog. This avoidance enforces the bad behavior and should not be permitted. If the dog is aggressive when someone is near their food, it is important to make the dog realize that no one will take their food. It is also important that the dog is not permitted to be aggressive in regards to food or anything else. Feeding each piece of food to the dog by hand until the dog realizes that you're not going to take their food is a good way to start. Once the dog consistently accepts this, placing a few kibbles at a time into a bowl and then holding the bowl while the dog eats is a good second step. Once they are comfortable with that, pet the dog and let them know they are a good dog as they eat. After the dog is comfortable with all this, allowing the dog to eat normally should be allowed as long as they do not take a step backward. If they do, go back a step and just remember that the behavior did not develop overnight and therefore will take time to remedy. To prevent this behavior, training a puppy to allow you around their food dish while they eat is important and can be as easy as a scratch after they start eating. Dominance. Occasionally, aggression will be based on the dog's desire to dominate the person or another animal. This aggression is unacceptable behavior in any dog. Further information is found in the category dominance. Barking. This behavior is a dog's main form of communication. Often they do this to react to things that see or hear, like a person jogging in front of your lawn, for instance. They do this when they sense something that alarms them, or to indicate a new arrival in their territory. However, there are also times when it will bark if it needs help or attention. Excessive barking, for example, is its way of sending a distress signal, and its needs are not being met. Dogs bark for many reasons. Some of the most common are loneliness. Often dogs will bark when they are left alone. This behavior is called separation anxiety. Dogs are pack animals, and for this reason do not do well when they are left alone for hours on end. If left, they will call for attention or start exhibiting negative behaviors to get attention, as any attention, even bad, is better than no attention. This attention-seeking activity can be solved by enrolling your dog in doggy daycare, providing plenty of toys at home for your dog, or maybe even leaving a TV or radio on for your dog while you're away. If your dog barks when they are left in a different room when you go to bed, it is important that they stay in whatever room you put them in. Letting them into your room, giving them a treat, or playing with them is enforcing bad behavior. Tell them to be quiet and be firm. Allowing them to have a blanket and a toy in their kennel will give them something else to focus on. Although the learning period can be difficult, remember, if you stick with it, your dog will calmly go to bed when told and remain quiet throughout the night. Strangers. Dogs will naturally warn their family if there is someone coming to the door, whether a friend or someone they do not know. This behavior can be difficult to control as it is instinctual. Correcting your dog with your voice can help with this, and staying calm when people come to the door will all help in preventing this behavior. Dogs will often bark at other dogs. Short, high-pitched barks are often let off during play, and is just your dog saying, "Let's play. Come play with me." Other barks, which are deeper, more chesty, and are paired with a tense back and often hair around their neck standing on end, are your dog's way of threatening another dog. This behavior is very rude and should not be permitted. This behavior should be treated as though your dog is swearing at the other dog in question, and a firm no should be used to stop this behavior. Bites. There are many reasons a dog could bite, and none of them are acceptable. Most bites result from aggression stemming from multiple sources. Sometimes, however, dogs will bite themselves, and this is a sure sign that there is something not right, and they should be seeing a vet. When a dog seriously bites a person, it is often a death sentence for the dog, and, as a result, should be taken very seriously. Avoiding putting your dog in situations where a bite could occur is just as important as is the training to prevent a bite in the first place. Aggression-based biting. Aggression-based biting should not be permitted regardless of the cause. In the aggression segment, there is more information, although in severe cases it is prudent to hire a professional trainer to help overcome this potentially dangerous situation. Medical. Often when a dog chews on itself, it is because of a medical issue. Either something is missing in their diet, pain, or discomfort. This chewing is a sign for the dog to see the vet. Occasionally, dogs will continue biting themselves long after they have been cured. This continuation is because the biting and chewing has become a habit. Distracting your dog with toys is an excellent way to prevent the dog from doing potential damage to itself. Biting the leash. Biting the leash is often seen as something that is amusing. This leash pulling is a very disrespectful behavior, and it is a dog's way of saying that they do not respect you. Pulling on the leash or playing with them is not appropriate, and telling the dog to release while removing the leash from the dog's mouth is the correct course of action. Chasing their tail. While this behavior is amusing and at times confusing, while most people will see this behavior as a dog simply playing, and often it can be just that. However, this is not always the case. Tail chasing can be caused by loneliness and is often seen in young dogs and other mammals who have been taken away from their littermates too early and left alone. It is often seen paired with pacing and self-mutilation in the form of chewing in dogs, cats, and caged animals. If you are concerned with your dog's tail chasing and feel it is more than just the dog playing, spending more time with your dog may resolve the issue. Although this may not resolve the issue if it has been continuing for some time, as it is habit-forming. Chewing. While chewing your favorite pair of shoes, the couch, or your son's favorite teddy may be frustrating, it is often the reasons behind the chewing that need closer examination. Puppies. This behavior usually occurs during a dog's puppy stage because they tend to chew on toys and other objects to ease the pain of that occurs when their new set of teeth grows. Toys such as rope toys, nylabones, and kongs are all excellent ideas to distract and redirect this behavior to a more suitable subject than your new shoes. Adults. Chewing as an adult is a natural occurrence. Dogs cannot brush their teeth and therefore chew to keep their gums strong and their teeth clean. It helps them to remove any leftover food pieces from their teeth. Just as with puppies, this can be safely redirected to toys appropriate for their size and chewing strength. Rottweilers require a larger, more durable chew toy than a Bichon Frise would. A quick walk down the dog aisle in your local pet shop will offer many options to keep your dog happy and your furniture safe. Inappropriate behavior. Chewing can also occur when dogs are experiencing anxiety or boredom. This behavior can become an undesirable characteristic when they start chewing on furniture sets, shoes, or even your hands and feet. Inappropriate chewing should be fixed while they are still young, as it is easier at this point. The first thing that you need to do is to make sure your home is safe. Household cleaners and dangerous chemicals should be placed in high places where they are out of reach. Hide objects that may spark their curiosity like wires, cables, shoes, or kids' toys. Dogs should also have appropriate playthings so they won't chew on household items. If this does not correct the behavior, attention could be the cause, and this can be dealt with symptomatically at first by crate training them. This should be done only while you are out, and ensuring that when you are home that you spend time with them. Crates come in handy because they are like a den and calm the dog. The dog also cannot destroy your house while they are safely contained. They should never be used as a punishment nor as a place to put your dog when you are at home. Another option would be to enroll your dog in doggy daycare. These locations provide attention and socialization in a safe environment for your dog. Digging. Digging is something a lot of dogs do for multiple reasons. Some dogs like digging to bury things in the dirt while others dig to uproot moles and other small animals from their tunnels under the surface. Regardless of why your dog likes to dig, often this behavior is frowned upon, particularly in the rose garden. Teaching your dog that they are not allowed to dig in the garden can be accomplished multiple ways. The standard way is to tell them no and to remove them from the situation. Often dogs will learn quickly and leave the garden alone. Another option is to create a sandbox or a small raised garden for your dog to dig in. Many compulsive diggers relish in this option and will spend hours digging in their area while leaving the roses intact. Dominance. Dominance with people or other animals is often frowned upon in family dogs. Certain breeds are more inclined to this than others. For instance, a German Shepherd is a naturally dominant dog who requires a firm yet gentle hand to train them. If there is no strong leadership role in the dog's life, they will often take that role upon themselves. This lack of leadership can create a string of issues and can lead to aggression. Dominance in and of itself is not aggression. Dogs are pack animals, and in a pack there is a leader and then a very particular pecking order. This order, in a family unit, should have the parents at the top, children in the middle, and then the dog below them. It is never appropriate for a dog to challenge a child for dominance, and should this happen, outside help may be required. Eating grass. Dogs all over the world eat grass, and there are many thoughts as to why this is. Boredom. When dogs are bored, they eat. If they do not have food available, they will eat what is available, and in the yard what is available is grass. This can be prevented with toys, exercise, and time playing with your dog. Lacking diet. Occasionally, dogs will eat grass when there is something missing from their diet. This is something to discuss with your veterinarian, and they may move Fido over to a high-fiber food to satiate their need. Upset stomach. Some veterinarians believe that dogs will eat grass to settle an upset stomach, much in the way you would take Tums. If this is thought to be the case, it is important that your dog see a veterinarian to determine the cause. Health and behavior. How are they connected? Similar to what happens to humans when they get sick, your furry pal's mood and behavior can also change based on their health. Parasites, diet program, and diseases are just some of the factors that can greatly affect their behavior. The pain and discomfort caused by ailments can result in a very negative attitude. That is why owners need to take them to the vet regularly. For example, if you notice that it is soiling and urinating numerous times in small quantities, your pet may have kidney problems or urinary tract infection. If this happens, you better take some samples of its urine or feces and send it your trusted vet immediately. The samples can provide a simple analysis of the situation. However, there are also instances when you have to take Fido to the hospital to get detailed information using X-rays and MRIs. When visiting the vet, you must tell every behavioral change that you noticed over the past few days so that it can assess the situation accurately. Attitudes like fearfulness or aggression can trigger when a dog has hypothyroid disease. This is quite common in breeds like the Doberman Pinscher, Golden Retriever, Great Dane, Dachshund, and the Boxer. To keep their behavior in check, you can consult a pet nutritionist and ask for a diet that has a low dose of thyroid medication. If your dog is always feeling irritated and has skin problems, it might be experiencing a tapeworm infestation. Checking their feces can easily identify this type of problem. If you see some moving white stuff that looks like rice grains in their droppings, those are tapeworms. Bring the samples to your vet and ask the right medication from them. Hyperactive behavior. Often hyperactive behavior is brought on by the lack of an appropriate outlet for their energy. Often these dogs require longer walks, more playtime, and often a job to do. This is particularly true of working dogs, both hunting and herding. These dogs were bred for generations to be very active, be very intelligent, and to work. Often the life of a pet is incredibly boring to these dogs, and to prevent this from becoming undesirable behaviors, activities such as agility, tracking, herding, and other sports can be taken up. These will provide time for you to bond with your dog, for them to learn a new skill, and for both of you to become happier with their newfound outlet. Jealousy. Jealousy can happen in dogs just as it can with children. With children, you often see this when a new baby is born. The child may revert to wanting to nurse, to wear diapers, or they may become more whiny than usual. As with children, you need to understand that adding a new family member, be it human or animal, is a huge change for your dog. Making sure to set aside some time to allow alone time with the dog is one way to help this. Any aggressive behavior should be instantly dealt with and made very clear that such behavior will not be tolerated. This phase will pass, and eventually the new member will be accepted into their family, and all will return to normal. Panting. When a dog pants, there are often multiple reasons. Often they can be linked to heat or stress. Heat. Panting is a dog's main method of regulating their temperature. They only sweat through the pads on their feet, so a bulk of their body heat is expelled from their mouth through panting. This heat control also accomplished through the hot moisture evaporating off of the tongue. Stress. Panting is also a sign that the dog is stressed. This is often displayed in situations such as the vet's office, when meeting new people, or possibly when they are being groomed. You will notice their body language will change. Their ears and tails will be down. They will often lick their mouth frequently and may even shake. Stressed dogs are more likely to act out and to become aggressive in defense, and for this reason caution should be taken to calm the dog without pushing them to avoid a potential bite. To reduce stress in your dog's life, you can increase their exercise, allow them toys to play with, gently pet them in long, calming strokes, redirect their attention. Develop a routine. Chapter 2. Getting your dog used to a new environment. At some point in your life, you might need to relocate or move to another house. When owners move to a new home, they tend to bring their pets along to relieve stress. A key to having a successful transition is to keep your dogs in check while moving out. While it's stressful for a dog to relocate, it is far less stressful for them to move, even internationally, than it is to be rehomed. Rehoming your dog removes everything that is familiar to them and causes a large amount of stress, occasionally more than older dogs can handle. What do dogs feel when they move? Your fluffy pals feel stressed when you transport them to another location. The unfamiliar territories that they see and the new neighbors that they'll meet can make them feel uneasy. This may lead to bad behaviors that were not present in them before. Pets absorb their caregivers' emotions. If you feel anxious, they'll become jumpy and super sensitive to sudden bumps and squeaks around them. Displaying signs of being chaotic and scattered will make them feel insecure. When moving, the owner must display a calm and assertive behavior so that your dog will be the same. Stay consistent. As much as possible, owners should keep most of their daily routine to keep the dogs acclimatized to your new place. Make sure to maintain the same schedule for feeding, walks, playtime, and bedtime. If it is used to enter in a doggy door, provide one in your new place. Keep his favorite items. Just because your apartment is new, it does not mean that you should also buy new toys for Fido. Dogs are sentimental to their belongings, so make sure that you bring them along. Put the toys, bed, food, and water trays in familiar spots so they will feel more in control and at home easily. Their diet should also be similar as to what they have before. Explore your new environment together. If you want your dog to learn to love the place, don't let it figure things out on its own. Instead, teach it the things yourself. The first thing that you have to do is to take it for a brisk walk to introduce it to the neighborhood. Owners must be the one to lead the dog in walks and not the other way around. Walk your companion animal with a loose leash and correct it if it starts to pull. Allow it to sniff in various places, but make sure that you will be the one to decide where and when it will sniff. When going in and out of your place, be the first one to enter to show that you are the leader of the pack. Being a competent and calm leader is vital in a human-animal relationship, will help your dog make the right decisions. Be calm and patient so that your pet will be more willing to follow you. Tips on road trips. Traveling with a furry companion can be fun and exciting if one is well prepared for the journey. The first thing to remember is to avoid risky driving. Pets should stay at the back of the vehicle and away from the steering wheel. Don't give them any food or water while driving at the same time. In addition, dogs must be properly restrained using a harness attached to the seatbelt or crate to prevent them from distracting you while driving, and also to protect everyone in an accident. Don't forget to take your dogs on short breaks for potty breaks and a bit of exercise. Making them stretch their legs for a few minutes will make them tired, allowing them to relax more on the remainder of the journey. If you need to sleep in a temporary room, find pet-friendly places where they can roam around and interact with other dogs. This will help exhaust their stored energy, making them more relaxed at night. When traveling on a plane, it is common practice to give the dog a tranquilizer either by injection or pill. Although it is effective to calm them down, some dogs don't react positively to this kind of treatment. They become more anxious because they lose control over their body. To find the best way to calm them down during long flights, consult your veterinarian first before you ride an airplane. Chapter 3. Purchasing supplies. Aside from your love, time, and affection, pet dogs also need important material items to make them feel happy. Supplies such as medicine and proper dog food will help keep them in top shape. They also need toys to learn how to socialize with others. Below is a list of the most important supplies that you should purchase for your dogs. Tagged collar. No pet owner should ever let their dogs wander in the neighborhood without putting their collars at first. This tiny necklace will help strangers identify the dog's owner if ever it gets lost somewhere. These days, these items have become more useful thanks to technology. Some brands offer collars that have a tracking system. With just a few taps from your smartphone or tablet, you can pinpoint your pet's exact location, or will notify you if Fido strays too far away. When choosing a collar, Be sure that it is not too tight. You have to change it once in a while as Fido grows up. To check if the dog's collar is too tight, your finger should easily slide between your dog's collar and its neck at all times. Crate or bed. Every dog must have his personal space at home in the form of a crate or bed. A well-crafted bed should provide adequate joint support for the pet. This is important because dogs tend to have joint problems when they grow old. It should be large enough for the animal to spread its legs and stretch out. The bed should also be cushioned evenly. Nail trimmers. Broken and split nails can be very painful for your pet. That is why you need to trim its nails every 4 to 6 weeks. The most common yet effective type of trimmer on the market is the one that looks like pliers. When you cut their nails, don't cut the quick. The quick is the portion of a dog's nail that is tender and soft. It is very painful to cut it out and it might bleed, causing infections. To be safe, just cut inch from the nail tips. Grooming brush. Breeds that have a long, thick coat like Border Collies, Golden Retrievers, or Tibetan Mastiffs are prone to getting their fur tangled. Brushing untangles their fur and keeps it clean from small and harmful debris. The brushes require change depending on the breed you own. Long-haired breeds require a longer bristle and may require 2 or 3 different brushes. Short-haired breeds, such as a Labrador Retriever, would do well with a shedding blade as well as a finishing brush. How the dog is brushed depends largely on their hair type, length, and cut. Researching the breed you own and speaking to their groomer will teach you how to groom your dog most effectively. First aid kit. A first aid kit for your dog should contain the following main items. Information about pet first aid. This can be a book or any reading material. That contains instructions on how to spot and identify symptoms and apply the proper first aid treatment. Contact information of people who can provide help. List the phone numbers of people you or anyone else left caring for your dog can call during emergencies. These people include your veterinarian, the emergency veterinary clinic, and the Poison Control Center's hotline. Identification and health documents. Inside a waterproof bag, put important documents that contain your dog's health information. This includes your dog's vaccination records, a picture of your pet, and any other medical information about your pet. Nylon leash bandages. The stretchable and self-clinging type is preferable. It does not pull on your dog's fur. Different sizes and types are available at pet stores and is commonly referred to as vet wrap. Muzzle. This is simply to keep them from hurting or biting others in case they get frenzied for some reason. It is not advisable to use this when your dog is having breathing problems or choking or is experiencing bouts of vomiting. Scarf. This is to cover the dog's eyes if they are panicking to help calm them. Here's a checklist of other basic first aid supplies. Gauze pads, adhesive tape, ice pack, hydrogen peroxide, rectal thermometer, petroleum jelly. Antibiotic cream, witch hazel, pen-like glucose paste, good for diabetic dogs that have low blood sugar. Toys are great objects to help Fido burn some energy. Playing keeps them fit and entertained, leading to a positive attitude at home. It also strengthens their teeth and reduces dental deficiencies. Choose toys that are appropriate for their age and size. Avoid buying objects that have sharp edges or small parts to prevent them from harm. Giving them a multitude of objects may become too overwhelming for them, so try to give your dog only a few toys at a time. They usually don't get bored with it for a long time, but if they do, replace it with another one. Leash. If you're living in a state that has a leash law, then this is a necessity. A leash helps you keep them under control while walking in public areas. A 6-foot leash should be long enough for the animal to a couple of feet ahead of you without straining its neck. Dog food. Similar to humans, dogs are also omnivores, which mean that they require meat and vegetables in their daily diet to meet their nutritional needs. There are 4 main factors that determine the correct diet for Fido. Stage of life: puppy, adult, pregnant, nursing, or senior. Level of activity: health issues, both current and preventative, such as obesity, diabetes, bladder, stones, and even eye or skin conditions. Breed size. A young Vizsla, for instance, requires a large breed dog food and a significant amount of it due to their energy levels. If you have a 9-year-old Chihuahua who spends most of its time sitting on your lap, then it would only require a small amount of small breed food. Packs of dog food labels usually have a guide regarding its suggested serving size, but it is only a general estimate. Only your veterinarian can give you suggestions that are appropriate for your dog and their individual needs. Chapter 4: House Training. It takes more than just a stack of newspapers and doggy treats to keep them behaving inside your home. You need bucket loads of vigilance, commitment, patience, and most of all, consistency in order to house train your furry companions. If you want to live a harmonious relationship with your pup, you have to accept the fact that they will have an accident in the house. Especially if they are puppies that are highly curious about their new environment and a small bladder. However, if you want to minimize these occurrences, consistent training from a very early age is necessary. Below is a list of tips that you should follow to have a well-behaved puppy. Build a routine. Puppies work best when they are introduced to specific patterns on when it can eat, play, or go to the potty. Puppies should be taken out after every meal, after waking up, or after playing. These are times where your dog is likely to be in need of using a washroom and will often go within 30 minutes of these activities. Take them for walks. Since they are still little, these should be brief and frequent. Long walks, particularly with long-backed dogs such as a basset hound, can injure their backs if they are taken for extensive walks too early. Walking provides activity and can strengthen its body and establish its bond with you at a very young age. Find a bathroom spot outside. This can be near trees or a patch of grass outside your house. When your puppy wants to go potty, take it there with its leash on its neck. So that it'll know what to do, you can utter a phrase like "go potty" before it eliminates its waste. When you do this outside your backyard, make sure that it doesn't go potty in front of your neighbor's lawn. Just find a nearby tree or empty patch of the lot where it can relieve itself. Afterward, pick it up and place it in a clean plastic bag. Don't forget the rewards and prizes. Whenever your pup manages to eliminate its waste on its designated spot outside, praise the dog or reward it with treats. It is important to reward them immediately, and treats should be given sparingly, as it is important that your dog does not expect treats every time they are to go to the washroom. It is important to make sure that they are really done eliminating. They easily get distracted, and if you praise too soon, the puppy might not be able to finish what it is doing and may make a mess inside your house. Be consistent with their feeding schedule. If your pet's feeding schedule is consistent, chances are its potty business will also be the same. Puppies need to eat 3 or 4 times a day depending on their age, size, and genetic predispositions. Put away your puppy's water dish before it sleeps. Do this 2 hours before its actual bedtime to reduce the risk of going to the potty during the night. Puppies can sleep for 7 hours without the need to eliminate once they reach the age of 6 to 9 months. If your dog does wake you up in the middle of the night, just take it out to let it do its business. It is important not to play with your puppy because it could confuse them, and they may find it difficult to go back to sleep. Confine your puppy in an enclosed space. Crate training should never be considered a punishment nor used in place of proper monitoring. Crates are an excellent way to provide your dog with a security and a place to call their own. Dogs will not soil nor wet the area where they sleep unless necessary, and as a result will not make a mess in the crate. This should be large enough for the dog to stretch out and turn around in comfortably. If your puppy has an accident in the crate, they will not be particularly happy, yet your carpets will remain safe and clean. An important fact that owners have to keep in mind is that most puppies are often older than 6 months before they are reliably house-trained. Often they are consistent in the house within a couple months, however accidents can happen, but with patience and consistency, they will learn quickly. Chapter 5. Keeping your dogs safe and trouble-free. Dogs become highly aggressive when they are being irritated by their surroundings. Most of the time, kids get hurt when interacting with their pets because they don't know how to respect its boundaries. If you want Fido to have a nice attitude when around people, you need to learn how to treat it with respect. Below are some pieces of advice that you may want to share with your kids. Never touch their food. Although food aggression should not be tolerated. Purposely irritating a dog by taking their food may upset your dog. This precaution is particularly true of young children, as they are most likely to get bitten. Never steal their toys. Teaching children to respect a dog's toys is important. Just as the children would not want the dog taking their toys, They should learn that taking a dog's toys is unacceptable. Regardless, keeping an eye on your dog is important in this situation to ensure the dog remains calm. Keep the kids away from the dog's sleeping area. Nobody wants to be disturbed when they sleep. Unlike humans, puppies don't have the option to lock their doors when children barge in their sleeping quarters uninvited. Put your pet's crate or bed in a silent location where it can sleep in peace, yet accessible from the main living area so they know they can retreat there if they need to be alone. Avoid roughhousing. Children should not ride their pets no matter how big the animal is. In addition, they should not pull its tail or ears. They should also avoid screaming in front of their pets because it might react to the loud noise in a violent manner. Appropriate interaction between child and dog. Once the young ones learn how to be polite and be more respectful to their furry friends, you can now teach them the proper ways to interact with them. The first trick that you can teach them: fetch. It is a fun exercise that gives them the opportunity to share toys with the dog. If your pet is small, parents can give a leash to their kids and let them walk it for a couple of minutes. However, make sure that they only roam near the house and you are with them to prevent any accidents. Another way to build a strong kid and animal relationship is through responsibilities. If your child is old enough, assign them simple tasks like handing out the treats whenever Fido accomplishes something good. They can also assist in combing its hair or preparing its food. These activities will teach them how to groom properly and share their food with others. Even at a very young age, toddlers can learn how to become great pack leaders. Together, you can practice giving commands like sit, stay, or off. These are simple yet very valuable methods that teach Fido to respect its young owner. In addition, pets can also teach kids a few tricks. Enlist the help of your dog in encouraging young ones to learn about the parts of the body. Toddlers between the ages 1 and 2 can't speak yet, but they can be taught to identify where the eyes, nose, or ears are. Once they mastered a few parts by themselves, introduce them to new words such as fur, tail, or paws. As an adult, it is your responsibility to ensure that your furry companions have a positive association with your kids and that everyone stays safe. Chapter 6. Fun and games with the dog. Playing, having fun is the ultimate way to remove your stress. The same can also be said with Fido. Doing some exciting activities with your pets can turn them into healthy and well-rounded animals that your family will surely love. The benefits of play. Here are the benefits: why extracurricular activities are good for both animal and owner. Keeps them in good physical condition. It helps keep your dog burn excess fat and makes the heart stronger. Moving around lubricates their joints, and it also improves their sense of balance and coordination. Improves mental health. Games that have rules will help exercise your pups' brain. These mental exercises will help them memorize commands better and makes them more focused with the tasks they are doing. Makes them more sociable. If they regularly play with other dogs or people, they will be able to improve their social skills. Dogs will learn how to behave properly and to follow the rules. Bonding. Playing fetch for a few minutes every day improves an owner's and pets' bonding with each other. Relieve stress. Even though you don't teach them how to be cute, dogs already have an innate knowledge of how to make their owners laugh. After a busy day of work, coming home with an eager pet will surely make you feel relaxed. How to play with them. The most important thing about playing with them is that you are the boss who decides what game to play and set the rules. This control will help strengthen your image as the pack leader. You will also be the one to decide when to start and stop playing. If you want to introduce a new game, make sure to start slowly until your pet understands the rules well. In addition, be sure that it fully grasps the game concepts before you move on the next one. When your dogs become too excited or difficult to manage, take a break and wait for your pet to calm down. For every achievement that they do, you should reward them with praises, hugs, and treats. When kids are playing with Fido, teach them not to get too physical. Avoid activities like tug of war or wrestling because it encourages biting and an aggressive attitude. Never use clothes as part of the activity so that they won't learn how to destroy it. Games that test their speed and agility are the best forms of strenuous activities for them because it exercises their limbs. An example of this one is retrieving exercises where you have to throw a ball or a frisbee, and they will attempt to catch it. An intense game of hide and seek will greatly stimulate Fido's brain. Or if you have the extra time, why not set up an obstacle course with your kids? If you want to teach the toddlers how to give proper commands, a nice game of statue will do the trick. Ask them to say "go wild" and see how their pet reacts. If the animal gets excited, teach them to say "freeze," then ask them to say "sit." Hand out the reward if Fido manages to do this properly. Conclusion. Thank you again for downloading this book. I hope this book was able to help you and your kid have a better relationship with Fido. Having a dog can sometimes be a hard and daunting task. They can be messy, annoying, and will often chew your stuff at home. There are also moments in which you totally know what they think, and then suddenly they become unpredictable again. However, having a furry pet also has its benefits. They are affectionate little creatures that know how to return the love that you give them. They are loyal guards who will protect your home and your kids. When you're sad and lonely, they know the tricks that can put a smile back on your face. In handling Fido, the most important thing to remember is to be calm and patient. Learning their behaviors and finding the best way to communicate with them will greatly help you in making them behave. Just like human beings, pet also needs a lot of care and attention. They should have adequate checkups and a balanced meal so that they will be healthy and happy. Playing and doing some exercise with them will help strengthen their body and will help channel their energies to a positive output. That way they won't become too destructive. Let your kids participate in the dog training so that they can form a strong bond with your furry pets at a very young age. Thank you, and have a great time with your pets.